This is one of Greece's true hidden gems, West Macedonia. Yes, hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you about one of Greece's true hidden gems, West Macedonia. Now you might not have heard of this. This is in the north of the country and it borders Albania and North Macedonia, so not to be confused with the country. So how do you get here? Now you need to fly into Thessaloniki and it's about a 2 to 2.5 hour drive. Of course, if you're new here, please consider doing all of these things. And don't forget to like the video. Alright, I'm going to split this video into 5 different regions and the things to do, the places to eat, all surrounding that region. And the first place is going to be the town of Kastoria. Yes, Kastoria is a must visit in West Macedonia and it will give you a big welcome to West Macedonia moment. It's set upon a beautiful lake, so you have stunning vistas, stunning views. So we went up to the viewpoint first off to get a really lovely view of the town itself and the 2 different parts to the lake. Then we headed along a drive along the bottom of the lake and we went to the Holy Monastery of the Virgin Mary Mavriotissa. Now some of these pronunciations I'm not going to get spot on, and some of the restaurants, the names are only in Greek, so I'm going to put lots of links in the description below, so make sure you check those out. And you'll also find a link to my article which has a perfectly formed Google Maps of everywhere we went, so you can plan your own road trip and do your own things to do in West Macedonia. Following that, we went for a walk around the old town, a beautiful old town called Dolso, and we had dinner, this one I do know, at Paliapoli in the old town. Now, one of the things you have to try is batsios, which is egg on cheese. I mean, there's so much you have to try. The food in Greece in general is amazing, but the food here was unbelievable. This was also my first chance to have Siporo. That's a liquor local to the area and it is really good for your digestion and apparently doesn't give you a hangover or a headache the next day. And the second restaurant I recommend in Kastoria loosely translates to the House of Pareia, and that had some of the best, most traditional Greek food I've tasted and was possibly one of my favorites. There was a dish that you have to try, it doesn't really have a name, but it was feta cheese with pistachio and honey. I'm gonna make that when I get home. That's how good it was. And you just cannot beat local Greek food, fresh tzatziki, the way they do their salads, the taste of the tomatoes. There's just something about fresh Greek food that gets me, and it was absolutely delicious. Next up, we're going to talk about the North Pindos National Park, and we went up to Valia Kolda and we did a 4x4 drive through the mountains. Now this is somewhere that you would not believe is in Greece. It doesn't look like Greece at all. It's actually one of the most mountainous regions in the whole of Europe. Some say it's the second most mountainous. That's a little bit controversial. I've been looking that up on Google. See, the weather wasn't so good, but it actually meant for some really amazing shots, some mystic looking clouds as we passed through the mountains, through the trees. That was a really stunning drive. I think everyone was a little bit blown away by that. And then the next activities you've got to do in this region is we went truffle hunting and we had a traditional mushroom lunch with Chef Fortis. This was probably one of the best experiences of the whole trip. Proper local vibe, really passionate guys with their dogs searching for the truffles, and then Chef Fortis with his mushroom hat cooked us up a dinner which had 10 different varieties of mushrooms in it and in the sauce, and it was so tasty, so delicious and so fresh. And then we just happened to be sat there when this local shepherd passed by with about 500 sheep all trying to cross this little traditional bridge. That was a really good moment, and as you can see, the rain is really chucking it down and it didn't hamper our spirits. We still very much enjoyed that. Great thing to do in this area. And following that, we went whitewater rafting. The weather didn't stop us doing that, but sadly it did stop us doing the zip line. There's a lot of different activities you can do in this area, so it's a very fun place to visit. The next region you have to visit is Lake Prespa. This is one I already knew about and already heard about before coming to this part. It crosses 3 borders and is actually partly in Albania, partly in North Macedonia and partly in Greece. There are actually 2 lakes, Little Prespa and Big Prespa, and we started off on a boat trip on Big Prespa and went all the way along the rock carvings, and we saw the settlements, 3 settlements from the 13th to the 15th century, and paintings that have still survived since then. We even walked up to this amazing, incredible, stunning looking viewpoint which had a small settlement inside and the caves and the bats inside. It really was a sight that I wouldn't be expecting to see in this part of Greece, and absolutely beautiful. Add that one to your list. Following that, we went to the island of Agios Achilleos and we went via the visitor centre, and a lady gave us a fantastic tour of why this area is so important. It's really important for bird life, and it's the largest breeding colony of Dalmatian pelicans in the world. So they arrive around February, March time, and they stay there throughout the summer, so we were just out of the season, but it was still amazing to learn all about them, and then cross over the floating bridge to the island and see some ruins and just enjoy this region of Greece. It's so beautiful, so stunning. There was very few visitors there. And this area is also known for its pine production and its red peppers, and that would become apparent when we had lunch. The lunch stop was right there on the lake with an incredible view. More red peppers, stuffed red peppers was my favourite that day, more local wine, and of course some sipro. The next things to do are going to be based around the town of Florina, another stunning little town in West Macedonia. Here we stayed at the Lynx Mountain Resort, which had a fantastic view of the town itself. Also an incredible spa, and had a very nice massage in there too. This was where we ate dinner and had a little cocktail. Before the next morning we went down into the town nice and early and had a beautiful walk along the river. I really recommend that you just grab yourself a coffee, sit on the river and just absorb this part of northern Greece. There are 2 activities I recommend you do from the town of Florina, and they are a drive. First one is head to the Alpha Vineyard and Winery. This vineyard is set in a beautiful location and it's actually huge. They produce a lot of wine, very high quality wine, and we did a wine tasting there. And that is before we did one of the highlights of the entire trip. Honestly, if you're going to put one thing on this list, add the Naoumidis pepper farm to it. We went and met the owner, Petros, one of the nicest, most passionate guys I've ever met. A real character and a real gem of northern Greece. Honestly, go and see this guy and go and see his peppers. Tell him that you found him through our video, through this video in this trip. This is fantastic. We're with Petros here, one of the most passionate men I've ever met, showing us his pepper farm. Absolutely delicious. So much better than what you get from industrially farmed peppers. Got to come here when you come to West Macedonia. He showed us all around his pepper farm. We went and helped him pick them. He gave us some to take away before showing us how he produces these incredible pepper spreads with pesto, with spices, pepper honey, loads of different things. And then he took us down to his restaurant on the lake, showed us a bit about the history, taught us all about where it started. We met his family. He even gave me some of the dried charcoal peppers which you can take home and grind into a seasoning, and he announced me as the English Pepper King. So people call him the Greek Pepper King, and he announced me as the English Pepper King. So we got on very well, and I will for sure go back there. I feel like there's a documentary in the making at this place, so if anyone wants to make that, let me know. The final place we headed to was Nymfaio, and there are a couple of things I recommend you do. The first is just to enjoy the town, the fact that it's at 1500 meters. The views on the drive up are incredible. So have a little walk around the town, soak it up. Really beautiful, pretty, very small town, and it gets really snowy in winter. In fact, they have a ski resort quite close by. But the main reason we went there is to go to the bear sanctuary, which actually rehabilitates and rehomes bears that have been used for entertainment purposes, and is a fantastic place for them to spend their final years when they can't go back into the wild because they've been bred in captivity and mostly treated badly by us humans. There's some really passionate volunteers that work there, and they rely on ticket sales and sales from the gift shop. They have about 22 bears and 60 acres and 7 different pens, and they also reunite cubs with their mothers. They aid in car accidents, and they respond to human capture or any kind of human activity. Now, wild bears are on the increase in the north of Greece, which is a fantastic project, and it's doing very well, but that of course increases the amount of human and bear interaction. So these kind of places are so important for educating the local people, helping them understand how they can coexist, and then of course helping any problems and aiding the bears at the time of need. Okay, and there are 2 guest houses that I recommend you stay and or eat at, and they are the Argigro, which is not how you pronounce it, but there's going to be links to my article in the description below, and La Mora. Now they are both very traditional, beautiful homes, really friendly people, great food, great setting, so I recommend you base yourself at one of either those 2. And then my restaurant recommendations in Nymfaio is Sklithro. It's actually a small village just outside, so you will need a car. Again, amazing setting, fantastic Greek food, a brilliant spread, and a brilliant way for us as a group to have our final dinner, the final siporo, and have a cheers and have some Greek wine and just celebrate what a fantastic trip it's been. So there you have my hidden gem of Greece, West Macedonia. I've rushed through this quite quickly because I didn't want to spend too much time talking, but I hope you can see how beautiful this area is. We had a fantastic guide called Herakli from Greek Adventures. They can organise pretty much everything I've talked about, so look them up if you are coming to this area. But honestly, make sure you stick this on your list for Europe, on your list for Greece. This is still relatively unspoiled. Very few tourists know about it and very few tourists visit here. So it's a true hidden gem in the north of Greece. So of course, thank you for watching my video. Give it a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. Drop any questions in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you want. Turn on the notifications. Other than that, thank you for watching and happy travels.